Today we're going to do a super cute pattern in Adobe Illustrator. So first I'm starting with a circle and the circle is because we're going to make different shapes, and just to start it with the circle, and the first shape is going to be a sun. So I'm using the pen tool here in order to make the rays of the sun. And I'm doing it pretty random, so I'm just going in and out. Um, and then just pretty random shapes. I want to fix it up towards the end. So that looks almost like a diamond, that one. And then it almost looks like a crown or something on a person's head, but it is not. It is not. Or even a puzzle piece. It kind of looks like a puzzle piece to me. And then as I'm doing it, like you see that circle is disappearing over and over again. Um, yeah, so it so looks like a puzzle. Like, can you imagine that being a puzzle? How difficult it would be, or maybe it would be easier because there's all these different parts of it. So this is the sun, but it doesn't really look like a sun. Sure, it looks like a paint blob at the moment. So I'm just stretching it out, and just to get some more room in the middle of it. And so then I click it again. And now I'm changing the actual points of it. If you double click with the curvature tool, you can change certain parts to be like a actual angle instead of a curve. So I want the outside to be more of a angle than a curve. Kind of like if you've seen a kid drawing a sun, it's angular towards the outside part. So I want to do it like that. And there's going to be the middle of the sun, the actual circle part that we see instead of the rays, the actual sun. And so now I'm just moving it. I'm using the arrow keys because the arrow keys just make it more exact, especially if you have some type of guide on that keeps snapping it to certain things. You can use the arrow key really quick to kind of bypass that. So now I'm going back and making some changes here just to make it look a little bit better. Of course, the real sun does not have a specific type of look to it. It doesn't look like how we draw it, and it's not all parts of it is not going to look the same. So I am going with the organic cartoony look, if that even makes sense. And so I am stretching this out and making the little curves, and as you can see, it's looking more and more like the sun. And then if I click a part that doesn't have a circle on it, then I can add an actual anchor point to it, just in case I want it in a different area. Sometimes like the middle part looks better as a curve, so that's kind of what I wanted, to keep the middle part as a curve. That one looks like a V. I wonder if I changed that. Yeah, I think I changed it. Yeah, I remember because that thing was flipping around. So then I'm moving it out to make the shape of it. Once again, it does look like a crown to me. And so now I got to that point, and I think that part looks like the best part of a actual sun that you're used to, making this straight so that it's going out straight instead of going down. And yeah, so that is the sun, but don't you think it needs some color? I think it needs some color. So right now, everything's black and then like with no fill in the middle. So I'm moving this up to make it a little bit more even and moving everything, clicking the path and moving it around so that the circle isn't touching the outside of the rays, since the sun is actually in the middle usually. There's black. That looks interesting as black, but yeah, we don't want black as of yet. But black is a good neutral color that kind of allows it to kind of stand out, but still not change the color theme of things. So sometimes when you do some type of like graphic art or something like that, you can kind of, if you have a specific colors, you can always add black and white and it doesn't look like it's off brand or anything. So now I'm using the paint tool, making it a certain point, making it a little big so that I can just press the circle in and make the eyes. We're going with the kawaii look. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's Japanese word for cute, and sometimes they have these eyes. So that's what we're doing. And here's the mouth, but it is thick. So we're going down with the strokes to make it a little mouth instead of a huge mouth. You know, I think if the sun had a mouth, it would be a little mouth. Or maybe it would be huge. Anyway, so that's the sun here. It still doesn't have any color. I did choose a color theme for everything, so that's nice. Um, so those are going to be my brand colors for one of my Instagrams. So that's how I'm doing that. So I'm just moving this by holding the outside after I select everything and then hitting Alt. And then with the Alt, I just dragged it out. And now I'm using those arrow keys again to just try to nudge things over a little bit instead of a lot, a bit. So those are the two suns, the happy suns. If you want to get a sun, have a sun, and it should be a happy sun. Think clouds are more sad than the sun, but I'm going to do a cloud as well, but the cloud is going to be a happy cloud as well. So now here's the curves. I'm doing a swirly, swirly, twirly bit at the top, like a little swirl of hair, little curl. And then I'm double clicking on the inside areas and then regular clicking outside. So I put one on the outside and then I click back in, double click to keep that straight, and then go again, or else it would look very wavy and I want it more straight on the inside, um, like an angle. So I'm going to make the bottom half flatter, which I feel like is more what you would do with a cartoon of a cloud. In real time, clouds are all different types of sizes, so it doesn't really have like a flat bottom. Well, I guess some clouds do. But so I'm going around and around and double making sure I remember to double click. And then now I need to end it off, which I ended up not really ending it, but just kind of passing past the certain layer to kind of close it. And it ends up working out fine that way. So I'm trying to figure out that, but I think it's a cute cloud. And with the face, it's even cuter. And then the color to it, I think is cute. And so then I just move that down and make it shorter. And then you can hit escape to get out of that little line that follows you around everywhere if you don't escape. Okay. And so yeah, I think it's coming out really nice here. Here's a thicker line. See kind of what that looks like to give it a little bit of visual interest to it so that it's not all, you know, everywhere, um, where everything looks the same instead of one part kind of standing out, if that makes sense. So I want that part to look a little bit different. So I left it thicker. Now I'm doing the eyes, and trying to do the same thing that I did with the other one where I just make the eyes a thicker point so I could just click and make an eye. And that's 7 point. Now we need to do the happy mouth. And of course it's too thick here. So actually it looks pretty good, I think. But yeah, we're gonna dial that down a bit so that it kind of goes with the other art as well, the other sun. So there we are. Let's move it in the middle so that it looks cutesy. And that one as well, changing it a little bit. So I think it's cute so far, but so far it is a black and white thing, which is like, that's still nice too, the black and white part. So I'm just making it so that they are going diagonal into like a pattern type. and it's looking good so far. So it's going to see, you ever you ever do that where you just like something happens, you're like, how did that even happen? So anyway, um, so now I'm just trying to make things as straight as possible for this, so that it looks like a pattern and not random. And so now I put the color and everything in, and so I chose this yellow and this blue color. The outside of the blue cloud is yellow. The outside of the yellow sun is blue. The middle part is blue, as you can see. Um, and yeah, so I think it's a cute pattern. I'm learning how to do with graphic design, how to do different patterns. I'm thinking it would be nice to kind of know how to do packaging patterns because I've seen that around a lot, and I thought that actually looks kind of fun to learn since I do know a bit about Illustrator and everything. So this is like my first try of like designing something and making it into something else. And then I saw another picture and they had these stripes at the back. It wasn't for the same with like the clouds and the stars, but there was these stripes in the background and I'm like, that's kind of nice. And I can use that and incorporate some of my other brand colors in with it. So that's what I did with this. Um, so first I just went into the actual rectangle and made a rectangle with nothing in it as well, just to begin with nothing in it. So if you guys haven't already, I just want to remind you guys to please subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming. And so we are going to make a specific colors, and so that I can keep using the same colors again. So here are my brand colors. Now you guys have some of them. So you put in the RGB numbers, and then there's that little nice pinkish, but it's not like super light pink, but it's a nice color. So here is the block, of course, is covering the suns, but we will fix that. I'm gonna work on just making everything straight and into a nice pattern first. And so I put where I want it, and then I hit Alt and just drag it along. Drag, and I just put a few, tried to make it as even as possible to begin with, but then kind of perfected it later on. And not perfected, but made it a little straighter. So then I'm moving it, and right now it's covering everything, but it won't. You guys can kind of see how it adds some visual interest to the actual page as well, or to the artboard. And so there's the layers because I did make a new layer, and then now that's how it looks in the back. So I really like how that looks. And yeah, I was gonna put it like directly behind everything, but I was like, I didn't like how that looked. So I didn't do that. The eyes moved. He has the one bad eye. Um, so then I kind of reordered it by mistake, but it looks good like this, in my opinion. Subscribe!